Hello there. It is Career Talk once again, and my name is Lara Emmanuel. Many thanks for watching. And today, as always, I have another guest in the studio, and he's here to put his profession. Isn't that what we do here? He will not just be putting his profession, he will be telling us about it. His academic certifications, his own experience as he has been in practice for a few years or even more. Remember, I bring on the program experiencers, professionals, people who have a say on their field. And today will be no exception as we'll be discussing something related to medicine. Oh, I got you. I know you are interested in the medical field, but if you are, you get to wait. And after this break, we will start the program proper. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us on Career Talk on Ogun State Television. Today, I have with me a psychiatrist, Dr. Emmanuel Abayomi. He is a friend of the house, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to have him on Career Talk here today. Hello, Dr. Emmanuel Abayomi. Many thanks for joining us on the program.
Yeah, my pleasure, Lara Emmanuel, to be with you on the program today.
I know it was a lot of tussle and hassle before I could bring you here because you're a very, very busy person. But as always, we say thank you, and it's I would love to hear from you really about your own profession, about your career field. And first thing first, let's start with your academic background. I'm sure the young ones are itching to know.
Yeah, thank you. Like everyone in this country, based on the educational system we run in Nigeria, 6334, I beg your pardon.
That was during your time.
A lot has changed now. All right, yeah.
A
So
lot has
first
changed.
you go through elementary school or primary school and
Mm.
then secondary school and then university. So after my secondary school, I applied to study medicine and surgery. Interestingly, I went to the University of Ibadan.
Oh, the primary
Oh
university.
yes, the premier university, the first and the best. So listeners out there
I,
can apply.
no, it's not the best. It might be the first.
Yeah.
Then you can have that. Just
Oh,
the first.
okay. It's still the best. I guess
No.
those who don't agree are a little envious, and it's okay to be envious of the University of Ibadan. Yeah. So to become a medical doctor, um, expectedly you're supposed to do really very well in your secondary school exams, like on NECO, SSC NECO, and also do really very well in your UME or UTME, they call it now, and then get picked to study medicine. And now the medical school program is a solid 6 year program. You spend 6 years in the university without strikes. So if you have the luxury of strikes, you're looking at 7, 8 years. And after this, there is one more year of internship or house job. So that's 7 years of training, so to speak, before you go for NYC, that National Youth Service Corps. And then you become a doctor. But for a psychiatrist, that's not enough. You're just scratching the surface.
Oh, wow.
Yes, you need to put in for another 6, 7 years of postgraduate specialization training. Yeah, I can see the look on your face.
Yes.
So sitting before you
Mhm.
is 14, 15 years of continuous training
Wow.
in the
So,
medical profession to become a specialist, to become a psychiatrist.
so really, why psychiatry?
Oh, yes, interestingly, like we all know, listeners, I believe, know that there are different kinds of doctors. Doctors who care for children, you call them pediatricians. Doctors who help women get pregnant and give birth, you call them obstetricians, gynecologists. Doctors who help people fix broken bones, orthopedic surgeons. Now, psychiatrists are doctors who take care of brain problems. Why psychiatry for me? I believe psychiatry personally is one of the most difficult, one of the most complex and complicated branches of human medicine.
And you like complicated?
Absolutely. Complicated things are for superhumans.
It's superhuman. So you are a superhuman.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Like my
interesting.
listeners who are interested in medicine and psychiatry.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have superpowers, you want to help people who have
Mhm.
complex problems. Psychiatry is saying, come on,
So
welcome.
tell us more about who a psychiatrist is. We want to know.
Oh yes. Like I mentioned earlier, a psychiatrist first is a medical doctor, becomes a medical doctor, that's his first foundational degree, then goes on to do a postgraduate training for no less than 6 years.
Okay.
And in the course of this training, he gets trained in neuroanatomy, neuroscience, that's the study of the brain. Also gets trained in human behavior
Okay.
and gets trained in what we call psychopharmacology, how to use medicines. Also gets trained in psychotherapy, talking to people. Now, all of these years of training empower the psychiatrist to be able to work in the specific ways I'm going to list.
Oh.
Yeah, a psychiatrist helps people who have problems with their thoughts. They feel overwhelmed with their thoughts. They think really very negative things. They think things that seem unreal, things that disturb them, negative thoughts. The psychiatrist helps people with such thoughts. The second category of problem psychiatrists help people with emotions. It's okay to feel sad, to feel anger once in a while. These are fine. But for some people, the emotions of sadness they feel can be quite overwhelming. So overwhelming that they come down with what we call depression. That's clinical depression. They feel tired of this world and they want to take their lives. They feel a lot emotional. Okay, talking to them can't help them. Giving them food, making them happy, no, it can't help them. They really need help. The
From
psychiatrist
professionals.
helps them. Exactly. The psychiatrist is able to help them. The third category, people who find themselves in some behaviors that are self-sabotaging, they can't help themselves from. For example, people who have addiction to psychoactive substances, they can help themselves. People who behave in ways that the society considers abnormal. Those people come under the purview of category of people psychiatrists help. Some other people, they have what we call perceptual disturbances. They hear voices of people they can't see around them, what we call psychosis. They see things that others can't see. Psychiatrists are able to help this people. And we help them in two major ways. We give medications, prescribed medications when needed. Another way we help them is psychotherapy. We talk with them, help them learn skills to break free from the thoughts and the emotions that overwhelm and restrict them so they can feel liberated and empowered and go on and enjoy this one life that they have. The job of a psychiatrist is complex, but it's fun.
It is. I can
Yeah,
tell. I mean, you've only highlighted the peripherals, and
yeah,
it sounds complicated already.
yeah.
So now you've talked about the academic qualification. Now let's talk about talent, skills. Is any of that needed to be a
Absolutely.
psychiatrist?
Absolutely.
Psychiatrist?
Yes, yes, please. And a number of skills, a number of what we call competencies are needed, or natural predilections. Some of them can be learned. Some of them, it's advisable that if you have a bit of them, you can just enhance them. One of them is empathy. Yes, if you are non-empathetic, you're unable to put yourself in some other person's shoes, able to feel the pain that they feel, your job as a psychiatrist is going to be very difficult. I'll give you an example. A surgeon, for example, can look at a woman who has a diabetic toe and say to her, Madam, I'm going to cut off your toes so I can save your leg. And care very little whether the woman is feeling overwhelmed or not. That's his job, he's going to do that. But a psychiatrist won't do that. The psychiatrist first understands this woman is going through pain, tries to put himself in her shoes. What's life going to be like for this woman if she does not have a toe? And then understands this emotional trauma that will come with it, and then breaks this news to her in a very, very empathetic, comforting way. So empathy is needed. The second is a great listening skill.
Okay.
As a psychiatrist, to be able to thrive and function effectively as a psychiatrist, you must be good at listening. Some people are natural listeners, and those who are not natural listeners but are interested in psychiatry still, you can enhance your listening skills. You can learn. Listen. Now, I think you'll be a great psychiatrist because you just demonstrated some great listening skills, Lara.
Because I've been listening.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And beyond listening, you're showing some signs that suggest you're listening. Yes.
I hope you're not evaluating me.
Absolutely
Doctor,
not. No,
I hope you're not.
no. The job of psychiatrist is much broader than evaluating
Okay.
people.
Please
But the
continue.
facial expressions you're giving me, the gestures you make, they are nudging me to continue.
Okay.
Those are some skills a psychiatrist really needs.
Okay.
Yes. Then patience, empathy, listening, and then courage.
Courage
Yes,
too.
yes, because
Why? Why is
yeah,
that?
it's important because you find some patients, for example, who attempted taking their lives while the family panics and those around them panic. The psychiatrist should be there. Now you find some patients who are aggressive, a tiny percentage of them are aggressive and violent, and others are running away. You can't afford to run
We're going to
away.
come to that. Really, we're going to come back to the myth, the dogmas related to your profession. But
Yeah.
before we do that, let's take a short break. Really, let's hear how the young minds media dream come true. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us on Career Talk, and still have Dr. Emmanuel Abayomi in the studio, and he's been discussing psychiatry. He's making it very interesting. You know, we always, or should I just personalize the statement? I've always had this fear about psychiatrists. You know, something about the space where you work,
Yeah.
and then that being said, let's talk about the dogmas, the myth, the stigmatization. Do you get stigmatized as a
Well,
doctor?
well, to the best of my knowledge, no.
Okay, no,
Because if
okay.
I were being stigmatized, I wouldn't be
You
here on
wouldn't
the show with Laura
be.
Emmanuel today.
Okay, let's just focus on the dogmas, the myth associated with psychiatrists. Really, there are lots of them.
Yes.
It's just like people see you as when you talk to them, a psychiatrist, just the same way I was asking, hope you're not evaluating me.
Yeah.
Psychiatrists cannot just talk to you normally. They want to understand that you are very okay upstairs. They are very normal. So let's talk about this myth. How do you take this myth, this dogmas, and how do you survive in the environment you work?
Oh, great question. I must say some of the stereotypes and myths that people have of psychiatrists are quite huge. On a personal note, my family didn't agree to my choice of psychiatry to
I
begin
am
with.
not
Yeah,
surprised.
because they felt, excuse me, what are you going to do amongst them? You want to become one of them? Haven't you heard that the longer you stay with them in this part of the world, say we back with Lara share. So they said, the longer you
Uh-huh.
stay, you begin to behave like them. I said, no, I wouldn't. No, they are two different things. Yeah, you're right. A lot of misinformations made. And how do
Mm.
I cope with them? All right. Two ways, really. The first is understand that you can't stop people from saying whatsoever they want to say. And a lot of what people say is incorrect. So just allow them, keep saying whatever they want to say. You just do what you need to do. Do your work, lead your life normally. And then with time, they have a choice before them to believe the reality of what you're doing or believe the myth they have in their heads. That's one way to approach it. And the second is make effort. Whenever you have space or opportunity, educate them. Let them know the truth. Share with them correct information.
Mm.
One of the bits of correct information to share with them is I am a human being and a psychiatrist, yes, but first a human being. I wasn't born a psychiatrist. I was born a human being, a normal human being just like me and everyone else. Went to primary school, secondary school,
But
university.
hold on, doctor. It's a human being, but you work with different, human beings. Let's just put it like that. So how exactly do you survive in that space?
Oh yeah, pretty very easy. Don't forget that.
Because we have a lot of narrative for some of us that have never been there that don't understand how you survive there. But we have a lot of narrative and explanations. So please correct us.
Oh great. First things first. The picture, the image we have of mental illness, a lot of times is wrong and incorrect.
So what's the correct image?
Excellent. People who have difficulties with their thoughts. And it might interest you to know that in this office building, for example, if you have 20 people in this office building, statistically, about two or three have a mental health struggle, and you wouldn't know, and they're working just fine.
Maybe not OGTV.
It's okay. It's okay. So long as they are humans and they have a brain.
Okay.
Now, that tells you about the perspective. Now, people who have difficulty sleeping may have a mental health problem. Insomnia is a mental health problem. People who panic, who just feel a lot of fright and scared and anxious, they have palpitations. They may be suffering from an anxiety disorder. They come to work all the same, but they may have an anxiety disorder. It is a mental health challenge.
Mm.
The image many people go with in their head as mental illness is the vagrants,
Exactly.
those who walk on the
And
street.
that's what we read on social media. I've
Yeah,
read a lot of stories on social media.
yeah,
Interesting ones, bad ones. The ugly ones.
Unfortunately, it's just 1% of the human population that suffer from a psychotic illness. It's those who have psychosis that most likely end up on the streets roaming about as vagrants. Of the 1% of the human population who suffer psychosis, it's about, or that 1% is about 7% of that 1% that end up as a vagrant. So if you look at a large population, so if you look at 1,000 people who have a mental illness, for example, less than 7 of them end up as vagrants. So the vast majority of them, over 900 of them, walk about, go about their normal day-to-day activities. They don't fit into that picture of what we know as mental illness. You know, people who have depression, who perhaps have suffered a heartbreak, romantic failure, a business failure, and feel sad, won't take their food, have thoughts of suicide, and lose weight just all home by themselves. That qualifies for a mental illness.
Okay.
People who gamble a lot of times and have problems controlling their
Gambling
gambling.
too.
Oh,
Could you
yes.
please repeat that so they can know that
Yes.
gambling too
Yeah.
can lead to
Whether
mental.
online gambling or they stop by the betting shop on the way to their houses, and they do that repeatedly. They lose money from gambling. They want to do that again and again and again. They start telling lies, hiding their income, their earnings.
So addiction doesn't end at drug abuse.
Absolutely. Yeah. Conventionally, technically, we say there is chemical addiction and non-chemical addiction. Chemical addiction is drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and all that. Non-chemical addiction, gambling is one of them. Internet addiction is another of them.
Internet addiction.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think we should just move on from this discussion, really. Let's talk about the spiritual perspective as Africans.
Yeah.
And how it affects your profession, really. Because some actually do not believe in psychiatrists. They think it's a spiritual problem. We're Africans at the end of the day. So they think it's a spiritual problem. And at the end of the day, this boils down to your profession.
Yeah.
Some think, I mean, you guys are not really needed. Psychiatry, mental illness, mental problem can be solved by praying. What's your take on that?
Oh, yeah. I think it's simply because here in Africa, scientific knowledge, scientific advancement, there is a lag in its dovetailing to us here in this part of the world. And I'll give you some example we all can relate with.
Okay.
Yeah, in a not so distant past, there was a lot of outbreak of smallpox. It was so bad, so severe in the early 20th century that we had a name for it. We call it Sompono. We believed it was a demon god. Yeah, but now smallpox has been eradicated. So what became of that god? There was no such thing as that. It was just an illness. Another is what we know as Abiku in those days was believed to be an Ogbanje spirit and all that. As a matter of fact, a big man in the literary world actually wrote a poem on Abiku because he believed he was a demon god. But it boils down, that's just sickle cell anemia. With scientific knowledge and advancement, we've come to see there's no such thing as Abiku. When was the last time you heard of anybody having Abiku or something? It's the same for mental illness because of ignorance, inadequate knowledge. Here in Africa, we're unable to explain the science behind mental illness, so we just attribute them to preternatural causes. But with advances in science, we're coming to realize, no, there are genetic factors to this, there are psychological factors, there are neurochemical factors, brain factors, explaining all of these.
And science actually cures this illness?
Absolutely.
Because there's a saying in Yoruba about anyone who has mental illness, there's always still the fragment of the illness in that person. Even to the extent that when the person smiles, you know, they just suggest, oh, maybe this thing is back again. When the person frowns, you know, the person is always a suspect.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's a saying like that, but that saying is not grounded in science or reality. It's a relic of the past when ignorance abounded here in this part of the world and there were no medicines, effective medicines to care for people who had such struggles. Today, I can tell you for free that we've had cause to care for people who had a psychotic illness, recovered fully, undergraduate recovered fully, gone back to school, complete their schooling education, gone for NYC, gone back, gotten married. People who had mental illnesses, severe depression, were even suicidal, gone on, completed their education, actually gone abroad with the last Japa fever, married, have children, doing well. You wouldn't know if they didn't tell you they have a mental health struggle. Yeah, that was true then
Mm.
when there was no effective treatment. But now with advances in
It's
science,
getting better.
it's getting better.
Oh, great. So now, for the sake of time, I just wish you have more time, really. Could you please tell the young ones, advise them on their career choice, and if possible, try to convince them to become a psychiatrist. And there is no fear in becoming one, really.
Oh yes, the young people listening to me today, it's great to be a psychiatrist right now. I would like you to know that if you listen to what's been said on social media, you hear stuff like school na scam, don't go to school and all of that. I can tell you for free, that is incorrect. I went to school and thanks to God, that's helped me tremendously. See, Lara Emanuel here went to school, it's helped her tremendously. If you don't want to choose broadcast journalism like Lara Emanuel, now come choose medicine. Go to school. I know you spend a lot of time in medical school, but go to school, you come out as a medical doctor and then specialize in psychiatry. In psychiatry, you have the singular blessing of getting into people's thoughts, have them share with you their private moments that nobody else knows, their secret fears, their hurts, their pains and sorrows. And it feels really fulfilling to be able to help them
At first, I
recover
thought,
fully.
at first I thought you'd get away with this question, but you will not. Now, let's take this last question, please, before you go. It's a culture here on Career Talk. You get to share with us a particular experience that you can never forget. And I'm expecting this one coming from you as a psychiatrist to be quite interested. Particular experience you can never forget during the course of your profession. It could be a good one or a bad one. Just one.
Okay, yes, and I have quite a number of them, but I'll share this with you. It's about a man I was called because his marriage was collapsing. As a matter of fact, his wife had told him she was moving out that weekend and the marriage was going to hit the rocks. And then he was brought to us. And in the course of this treatment, cared for him, he got better. And his wife had reached out to me, look, should I move out or stay? No, no, just hold on. Let him come back from treatment before you take your final decision. And then he came back from treatment and his wife, oh, this man has changed. It's a new man altogether. And that marriage was saved. The 2 children they have saved. The marriage is strong, going on well. The man has got a job. He's doing pretty very well. And the man and woman are all smiles, excited.
I'm sorry to ask you, the woman was about to move out because of his mental illness.
Because of the man's mental health struggles.
That's sad.
Yeah. Now, it's only a psychiatrist that can do this. Yeah. So it's quite fulfilling. You help people who are on the verge of giving up, throwing the towel. As a matter of fact, the man was suicidal at some point, but he's back on his feet now. Life is all good.
So is it a continual treatment? Is it a lifelong treatment for those for those that have a mental illness?
It depends on the kind of mental illness that the individual has. Some mental health conditions, once they get treatment, they're fine. They're fine for the rest of their life.
They're fine for the rest of their life, just like that?
Yes. Okay. And some mental health conditions will need medications, and that's no big deal, really. Because people who have hypertension or diabetes, a lot of times take medicine for the rest of their life, so there's no big deal in taking medicine.
I like the way you paint your field, really. I like the way you paint it. You make it look like it's normal.
Yeah.
It's natural.
Yeah.
Okay, I wish you would, maybe your association or group or whatsoever would do more, to preach this to the public, because the population has a different notion about your profession, and especially those suffering with mental illness. The stigmatization is definitely there. Thank you so much for coming on the program, Dr. Emmanuel Abayomi. Thank you for making psychiatry look so easy, simple, and fulfilling.
Sounds like I've won you over. So let's get you to come in for psychiatry.
No, thank you. I'm just fine doing what I do. Thank you too for watching Career Talk. I'll be back next week. Bye for now.